Hello, everyone. Welcome to High Vibes and a Mic. We are your hosts, Sylvia Madden and Veronique Anenter, moms in our 40s and 50s with lots of great spiritual insights and funny stories to light up your day. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hi everyone, today we have a guest. Her name is Alice. She's a career astrologer and founder of a Woo company. She shares how you can use astrology as a tool for identity work, career development, and business. Alice also facilitates wellness programming for organizations as a fractional shift mindfulness officer, showcasing how mindfulness is a powerful resource for businesses. Alice just launched a career focused astrology website. You can sign up for your free career astrology report on www.yoursaturn.com. And for our listener, we have a special code for 10% off of your expanded report if you use the code High Vibes. And now let's hear from Alice. Hi, Danny. So, can you tell us how you decided to become an astrologer?
It kind of fell into my lap. I never really thought that I was going to get into spirituality, holistic wellness. My background is actually in communications, like social media, digital marketing. And in my late 20s, as we all experience, I went through an existential crisis. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Is this the right path? I don't know if I could do this for like the rest of my life. And that's how I got into astrology, into yoga and mindfulness. I would say
Mhm.
yoga was kind of like my gateway drug. It was the
Yes.
way that I found myself in this current place and time. And inevitably, when you start to reconnect with your body, you reconnect with yourself, your intuition, and you start to wonder what else is out there that can really help you excavate the parts of you that are a bit more hidden. And astrology does just that. And it's one of the reasons why I believe it's such a powerful tool for understanding yourself. And with that strong basis of self, then that is the place that you can really operate from in gaining more clarity, not only about your career, because I'm a career astrologer, but
Mhm.
really about everything in your life. When you have questions, it is because there is a part of you that is emerging that you may not feel comfortable with, or there is a part of you that you have yet to really grapple with, that may have a bit of a friction point with your current identity, your current reality, but it's where you really want to move towards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, opens up all this new world, right? Of possibilities, spiritual
Yes.
things that you can learn. And so, what made you
Mhm.
Yes.
focus on the career, like astrology just for careers specifically?
Yeah, so when I started my business 5 years ago, it was events focused. We talked about various spiritual concepts and tools and modalities. And the mission, the purpose was always to help you understand your truth and your purpose. Now, your truth and your purpose sometimes can feel a bit heavy, a bit daunting. And so I've kind of translated it to career. It is a bit
Mm-hmm.
more
Mm.
helpful. It broadens it in a way that has practical application, because when we talk about purpose, your purpose can manifest itself in many different ways. For some people, it is like really much so focused on what you're doing 9 to 5. Other times it comes through children. It comes through caretaking for your parents, being involved in your local community. And I just felt, I listened to my intuition, and also my friend, who is also a psychic, a mentor as well. And she's like, you should really kind of look into doing like a career clarity reading. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, I guess I have been doing that. And so let me explore. So I had added in, a couple different modalities, astrology included. And then the last year and a half, 2 years now, actually. Yeah. I decided to focus just on the career component and the astrology aspect, because
Mm.
so many people have questions about their careers. Post pandemic, we're really living in a different world in terms of how we work, how we value value work and some of the non-negotiables that we just don't really care about. We're like, I have to work from home. That's it. I'm not coming back into the office. Like, I'm either going to, keep me on the team, or you can find someone else because I need to spend time with my family, or I have other commitments at home that don't allow me to go into the office anymore. And it is the question that a lot of people have on their minds, especially this year. Traditionally speaking, the last, like, let's say 10 years, maybe a little bit more, 10, a little more than 10 years, like, tech has always been seen as a very stable job, kind
Yeah.
of like limitless exponential growth. Everyone's like, how to get a tech job, how to be a product manager. And now huge swaths of people have re-entered the workforce because they've been laid off from, like, Google, from Salesforce, all these different places. And I think it's just a reiteration that stability comes from within. And these are some of the big lessons we've learned these last few years. And I really believe it's a right place, right time. This is what people need. This is what people have questions about. And it's one of the fastest ways to get people interested in astrology.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it is true. And so when you're talking about careers
Yes.
and, like, people that you do readings for, the astrology reports, what if when you see that they have a certain job currently, but in their report it shows is a completely different path they should be taking according to astrology? Then how do you manage that or handle to kind of, like, test the information?
Honestly, that's, like, never happened to me.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Lucky.
Oh wow.
That has never happened. I think because people who message me, people who get my expanded reports, give me feedback on it, do readings with me, they are on their path and their purpose. People who are just
Mm-hmm.
having a job to have a job, I don't really think they're interested in astrology. They're not
Astrology,
really
yeah.
looking to be like, what
Mm-hmm.
else could I be doing out there? So honestly, my intention for the free and expanded report was always for people to feel more seen, so that they can feel more confident moving forward, because confidence and that inner conviction really is that anchoring point that people really need to operate from when doing something new, going after their dreams. They may be uncertain, but it doesn't mean that they aren't confident in themselves and their abilities to figure it out and find the answers, right? And so time and time again, I get a lot of the same feedback for my reports. Whether you get the free one or the expanded one, people are like, it's so spot on. I've been thinking about this. This is a dream that I've had. Or, yes, I actually am interested in writing, but I haven't had time to explore it yet. They're like, these are things, like, that I've always wanted to do, but the way that you shared it with me makes a lot more sense, like, drives the message home more clearly.
Because I did
Interesting, yeah.
the free one that you offer online, and it's quite a lot for something that you offer for free,
Oh,
like five
thank you.
pages, and I was like, wow, that's actually a lot, and I wonder what the expanded one looks like, and you were spot on because we decided with CJ to do the podcast, and you were talking about me expressing my voice and doing communication, and I'm like, okay.
I see you. you
That's so
know,
funny.
when
Hmm.
things are kind of a little bit more automated, cookie cutter, because these are, like, auto generated, right? I would say
Hmm.
90% of people resonate with it. They're like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
this is like me. There's certain
Hmm.
parts I'm still iterating so it can get more aligned to how people feel, but it's you don't get it right. You don't get 100% of the time, right. But
Hmm.
that's just what it is. To reach more people, some sort of automation kind of decreases a bit of the personalization, but because of its the astrology component, it increases the amount of personalization and customization. So it really feels like I wrote it for you.
Yeah, it felt like that. Yeah, definitely. It doesn't feel like it's something automated or. Um, I just learned that actually. I thought you wrote it, with your little fingers and you tap on the computer.
I wrote all the content. I didn't use any AI. This
No chat
body of
GPT.
work this body of work is mine. I channeled
Yes.
it in the desert. I was just like,
Mm-mm.
it was crazy. It was like a year ago. It was like 120 degrees in the desert. My friend's like, hey, like my
Oh my
friend like
God.
wants me to house sit. Do you want to come to the desert? I know it's like really hot, but would you like to come? And I was like, sure, it'll be nice to get away. And I'm like, wow, literally insanity. It's 120 degrees outside. I guess we're just in the air conditioning, just like hanging out. And I was like, this is a good time to get work done.
No, it was good. Sylvia, you should do it when you have time, when you have a minute,
Yes,
you know.
yeah, I'll definitely do it. I love it. I know I'm going to
And so you
resonate.
do readings? Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a little delay. I'm sorry from talking,
Yeah, there's a delay.
on top
Yeah,
of
it's
you.
something with the
Sorry
internet.
about that, listeners. So you do reading also for team building. So how does this work? I was a bit
Oh,
confused by that. Is it like on
they're
Zoom?
so fun. They're so
Okay.
fun. I do them in person and I do them virtually. I do them for small teams like just a couple
Mm-hmm.
people to like 30, 50, 100. And it just really depends on who's in the room. For the most part, like I'll focus on three specific topics. Or there's a custom topic some people would like, but usually they can choose from how to use astrology to better self-care, how to
Mm-hmm.
use astrology to understand your leadership style, and how to use astrology to better communicate.
Okay.
These
Yeah.
are all key things that organizations want to help their employees with, as well as foster stronger team connections. So I come from a corporate background. I know these are some of the things that people really like care about, they want to focus on, but it's kind of like really boring to go to a session. It's like,
Mm.
like leadership 101. You're like, oh, right, I'm going to sit here. They're going to tell me like how to communicate, how to lead, how to manage up, honestly, they don't even teach you these things. They don't tell you how to manage up, down. They don't actually tell you about anything, how to
Yeah.
generate reports. That's probably what they are teaching for the most part. But yeah, so these are some of the workshop topics. And then the way it looks is I'll do a grounding meditation to get kind of everybody settled into the virtual room or the in-person
Mhm.
space. I'll share a topic, whether it's like leadership or communication, self-care, something else. We'll do some interactive components where people will guess like who is who as I kind of list some of the definitions up. So it's actually really fun, very interactive.
Mhm.
People learn new things. It allows people to practice critical thinking skills, practice their intuitive skills as well. So, after the session, like people who are non-believers, I get some converts. And
Yeah.
overall, everyone's always like, you know what? That was fun. That was
Yeah.
fun.
The most important. Because I guess
Yeah.
the person you're marketing from, in the manager who's going to book you, or for the whole team or something like that, has
Yes.
to be a little bit into this or interested, right?
Yes.
Because if they're not into that at all, they're going to be like, okay, no, this is not for
No,
us. This is
no, unless they're
astrology.
just like, we're going to do something like really out there. And I thought this might be interesting, but that usually means like
Mm-hmm.
they are on the precipice of a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I see.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about your mentorship program that you offer? Because that
Oh yeah,
sounds
so I
interesting.
actually used to have a mentorship program, and I've kind of like phased that out. I think I still
Mm-hmm.
have it on my website, but
Oh, yeah.
things get kind of a little crazy, and you don't get to like update your website. I just put it up there. I'm like, if anybody really wants it, like like I will keep that up there. But what it
Mhm.
was, and I'll still do time to time for like very specific people, but it's not really my area of focus. Is to help people either like discover their truth, their purpose, or to build their business, right, in those early
Mhm.
stages. And really all these things center around understanding yourself better. So I not only use astrology but other mindfulness techniques and tools to help you really understand what's holding you back and kind of how to move forward from these blocks, as well as understanding your gifts and your talents. Primarily now I'm really focused on generating reports for people, so the expanded reports, the readings, and the team building sessions. And if someone
Mm-hmm.
comes around and they're like, I really need your help, like with mentorship, then I'll see if it's like a good fit. But, to
Mhm.
be honest, it was something really hard for me to really reconcile with myself about a year and a half ago, was that coaching really didn't resonate with me anymore.
Mm.
Mm, no,
It's a
interesting.
pretty popular, like way to
Right.
engage with people, work with people
Yes.
in this space, really across all industries now. But I just realized I was like, I was good at it, but I don't know. I just didn't like it. For some reason, there was something about it that just didn't quite sit like exactly right. And so I was like, this is a big source of my revenue, but this doesn't feel right. And so I pivoted to launching yoursaturn.com, where you can get your free career astrology report. And I'm a lot happier.
Oh,
That's the most
that's
important,
great.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have, I know, because sometimes it's just like everybody's doing that. And then you feel like, okay, I should be doing that as well. But sometimes it doesn't work for you. I can
Mm-hmm.
see that. Yeah. Especially in
Mhm.
coaching.
No.
It's a lot on you too, right?
Yeah.
Well, not really. I think it was just holding the container of energy, and um you know, I wanted to be able to help like more people and be able to present a resource and have people take action on their own, because I do believe that we're entering that space, that time where people really are looking within for the answers. They're taking a lot of different teachings, a lot of different resources, a lot of different people, and kind of internalizing, being like, what really resonates with me? And just taking time with themselves to learn more and really have more autonomy in their own spiritual journey, in their own identity work.
Good
Okay.
point. Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So what's your favorite healing modality? Because we're talking about this.
Well, I think my favorite healing modality is, I think astrology is very, very healing.
Mm-hmm.
it
So,
it tells you so much about yourself, and to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized and embraced for who you are in of itself is quite healing. And then to understand, like, oh, let's say you've always had this desire to like write, to like do more public speaking, but you've never really felt like you could. But if you see it in your free or expanded report, then everything kind of opens up, right?
mhm.
You're like, oh, I have permission to be who I am. You don't need it, but many of us feel very comforted by it. So I believe astrology is one of the most powerful healing modalities out there for those who like to take in a lot of information.
Mm-hmm. Can you read for yourself? Can you do it for
Yeah.
yourself? Like you have
Yeah,
like
I do. I do.
you.
I will
Mhm.
look at my own like birth chart. I'll kind of see what's happening. So right now, Mercury retrograde is in Capricorn. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
communication issues, like
Yeah.
travel issues, like tech
Yeah.
issues. I'm like, oh great, my camera's like unfuzzy. It was like fuzzy for a while, and then I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes.
Like I was on like an interview, a Zoom call earlier today, and there's all these like mishaps. And so I know that with a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, it's going to be even more difficult to express my needs because my moon is in Capricorn. It's a very serious sign. And when your moon is in Capricorn, you tend to not really feel your emotions. You like to kind of explain them away. You'll have, we're all thinking more about like our career, our purpose, maybe having some regrets about certain career decisions,
Mhm.
being hard on ourselves. That's a big theme for the next few weeks. And yeah, like it's not always easy to read for myself, but I do the best that I can, just because I'm a little too close.
Yeah.
I'm a Capricorn. I was going to ask Veronique, you did
Mm.
the report. Did you find out about your your um, rising sign, or no, you didn't? Because she was going to try to get all the information about when she was born so
Yeah,
that she
but
could get that.
you, yeah, but I don't understand all of this.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but yeah, it's pretty. I can show it to you. Or you're gonna, if you can do it. It's like it doesn't take a long time to fill up the information, and
Hmm.
it's pretty complete. I was saying to Alice, for something you get for free,
Yeah.
you have like at least I think it's 5 pages of
It's 3
information.
pages. The
Three
first
pages.
page really is where all the information is. It's a couple paragraphs about who you are. It's really great for people who, they're not into the astrology jargon. They're like, I don't know what Jupiter means. I don't know what retrograde or like Aquarius. Like there's too much for me to think about. So I
Yeah.
actually remove all of that information. And then the second page is your chart properties. So like a table of like which planet is in like what sign, like what house. And the third one is like that wheel chart. And one of the most
Yes.
interesting things that I realized was when I do my free career astrology, like workshops or a paid workshop, it's very easy for me to kind of call out to people in the room. I'm like, okay, if you look at your chart, if you have a lot of 2s, you have a lot of 8s, you like Taurus, a lot of Scorpio, like those numbers or like those like names like listed out, that means you've kind of been feeling this way. So it is a very handy tool for when I am doing like my corporate team building workshops, as well as when I'm speaking to someone who doesn't really want to get caught up in the astrology lexicon, because I believe that is one of the biggest barriers for people to understand how to use astrology for themselves. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I created yoursaturn.com.
Yeah, definitely. Because when you say all those, Mercury in retrograde and all of this, people are getting lost. Yeah.
I know. And then something that I've been thinking about more these last few months is how helpful it will be for, moms and people who are returning to the workforce. Maybe they've been not working for like a year or two, maybe 5 years, maybe 20 years. And, by looking at this report, they are reminded of like, oh, these are some of the things I am really good at. This is a job that I used to have, but I've always thought about X, Y, and Z. I've always thought working in an art gallery, something more creative is what I desire, but I just didn't have time for that. But now I think I do have the time for it. It's just very, very validating.
Yeah. I did one time, like last year, an astrology report. I contacted an astrologer and she just did a reading for me. And I remember that she said about my path, about me talking in public and just talking. And I'm like, what? That's one thing that I felt like there's no way I would be doing that, because I'm more like an introvert person. I don't usually like to talk like that. Like I'll never think of myself talking in public or anything like that. And then like a few months later, we are starting a podcast and we're just like, we were talking to a large audience, want it or not. So it's just funny that I thought like, I don't know where she's getting that from, but yeah, maybe there's something there.
I'm sure
it just happened.
It was your nodal placement, your north node. I'm pretty sure it was your north node placement. And that's one of the most interesting things. From time to time, I will have people, they're like, oh, I don't really resonate with that. Or I don't really understand. Like I had a friend, she purchased the expanded report, I want to say during the summer. And I saw like a lot of Pisces in her chart. And I told her, I was like, I know, you're becoming an actor. Like that's like what you're pursuing right now. You've quit your tech job. And I was like, but have you thought about, doing something that's like artistic, like musically inclined? She was just like, no, not really. Like, she's like, maybe like, I might do some social media work, like making some videos, like, that's something that I really like, being behind the camera, creating content in that way, but also pursuing acting. But she's like, nothing really like musically or like really artistic. Fast forward 3 months, she's like, oh, I'm actually like really interested and starting to learn more about DJing.
Oh, you go.
You see, it's so funny. It's very interesting.
Yes.
And I'm sure she forgot maybe what you told her earlier.
Oh my God, she totally did. And I was like, hello? Yeah. I was like, remember? Like you have a lot of Pisces in your chart. It's very musically inclined. It's also very intuitive, very psychic. And she's really good at reading people. And I'm like, yeah, I told you about this, something musically inclined.
Veronique, you have another question, or you already
think that's my last one. So you have a podcast also?
I do have a podcast. So I had gotten a lot of messages early on when I started this business that I should really start a podcast. Like I got so many messages channeled through people that I should have a podcast, like strangers, Uber drivers, like, oh, like, are you in radio? And I'm like, are you on TV? I'm like, no. Like people who come to my workshops or retreats, like, you really need a podcast. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. But eventually, the pandemic happened. I got another message from the universe that was like, you will do this and you will do this now. And I'm like, okay, I will. And I'm on my third season. This is like my longest season so far. It's like 30. I published the 34th episode today.
Wow.
And in this season, I talk about astrology and career, how to use astrology to help you move forward in business, in your career. Sometimes I'll add some other things in there as well. My second season was all about Saturn return. So, that existential crisis that happens in your late 20s, but also happens in your mid to late 50s and mid to late 80s. So I actually interviewed a whole bunch of people about what their Saturn return was like, and then their transformation, like work transformation that happened because of it. And then I shared a little bit more about the topics that, we had chatted about, whether it be about wealth or generational trauma healing. And then the very first season was kind of like an intro to like holistic health and spirituality. I did some interviews. I did some solo episodes being like, how to use crystals. What does it mean when people say like, like that, like energy, what is Reiki, like I did a lot of different things. So those are kind of like the different themes for the seasons, and you can kind of see also like how it progressed.
So, do you have one episode per week, per month? How many? Because you said 34 episodes.
Just once a week. I really
Once a week.
it just reinforces kind of like the information I'm sharing that week, like on social media and my newsletter. I don't do a lot of like promotion of it. It's just to like, my community and people who find me via Spotify or Apple. And one day, like I'll probably put some more like resources into it. But for now, I kind of just talk about like, what's happening this week, anything that came up for me. And it's been really nice to connect with people in that way.
Okay, and it's called Into the Who podcast.
Into the Woo.
The Who podcast. Yeah. All right.
All right. So my last question is about human design, because I know a lot of people have never heard of it, and I'm familiar with it. But can you talk a little bit more about it? Do you offer readings, human design readings as well?
No, I don't offer any human design readings, although I have incorporated it into my mentorship programs in the past. So human design is another system of understanding yourself, specifically on how you operate energetically and how you kind of move through the world. There are a couple different energy signatures, and I find that those who are projectors and reflectors are the most different, and they're the least present in the population. So there I believe it's 5. So there's projectors, reflectors, manifestors, manifesting generators, and generators. Like those are the 5 different ones. And human design is based off a couple different modalities. So the I Ching, astrology, chakras, a little bit of Kabbalah, maybe something else I can't remember, but it was channeled by this guy maybe 30, 40 years ago. I can't remember. And it just gives you a better understanding of yourself on how you operate, like, which areas of your life you're kind of needing more guidance on, how you operate, how you function, how, like, as a projector, I'm a projector. I'm really meant to guide people, and I'm not really, it can be very easy for me to overwork. I'm not supposed to be working like 9 hours, 10 hours a day, which sometimes happens. I have to kind of like shorten the amount of time that I work, because it is more about me like guiding and sharing like what I know rather than doing. And right now, most of the population is like manifestors, manifesting generators, and generators. And these are kind of iterations of themselves. Like they have some similarities among them. And in terms of, I believe that, I don't want to say the wrong thing because I don't focus too much on human design. But manifesting generators, they have a lot of different interests. And so it's up to them to kind of focus on one interest and then kind of move to the next. There's also ways that you operate, like how you can best take action. And I know that mine is sacral. So it means like intuition. Like when my intuition tells me like I should go, other people, they need to wait like 24 hours before they make a decision. Sometimes some other people are like, oh, if it's an immediate yes, then it's like, yes, like we're going to do this. And other people need to kind of take some more time and to reflect or be very mindful of the people that they're with because they're very deeply affected by others. So that's a little bit of human design. I hope that I explained it well. It is not my core modality, but astrology is a component of human design.
Okay.
Yeah, and you
I
find
think
out.
I think I got it. Yeah.
Then you find out what you are, if you're a generator, projector, through, it's a kind of the same system, right? Just your date of birth, the time you're born,
Yes.
and then location, and then you can just get that report. People can just get that online as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you still need to use the same information. It's based on your birth time, place, and date.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you offer that or not? Because I'm sorry, Sylvia, no, I don't know.
No. I
No.
don't offer
Okay.
that. I primarily
Okay.
focus on the astrology component, and and from time to time, just recently, I have looked into the astrocartography for someone as well, which basically looks at like the best place for you to live. Like, let's say if you lived in New York versus like Dubai, you know, what are some areas of focus in your life that will come up? What's going to be very expansive for you? What's going to kind of ignite a lot of change and transformation? Some places that there's a lot of healing work to be done. So that's something that I've been sharing a bit more with clients as well lately. I've had a few people being like, oh, where should I live? I have a bunch of job opportunities. I'm not really sure. Like, you know, should I move to Chicago or should I move to like San Diego? Like, I'm just not really sure. Like, I'm fine with like either one. And I'll share like, well, if you move to Chicago, this, your life is going to look a little bit more like this. If you move to San Diego, this is going to be kind of the flavor.
Huh. That's a very interesting one. I would love that. Yeah, especially like people who are always, you know, on the move and going sometimes different jobs, different places. Yeah, that's great to have like at least an idea of not going just totally in the dark. So
yes, and I will also tell certain people, I'm like, oh, I see in your chart that you just like to travel all the time. Like you're a nomad. Like you enjoy just to be, you know, like moving to somewhere different like every single year.
Yeah, that was me before. I'm settled down now, but
I wonder, you know, Veronique, if like your North Node, I didn't have a chance to look, is in Gemini, and then your South Node is in Sagittarius.
I don't know what you're saying, but I don't know.
So.
I'm an Aquarius.
I think so. I think so. Let me look just to see.
What would that mean then?
Let's see.
What is that node, by the way? What is that node you're talking about?
Oh yeah, you had a question about that. Let me first see in your chart what that is.
It was about the Yods, I think. Yeah.
Oh no! Your placement is different, but I do see a bunch of Sagittarius energy. So what that means is like you enjoy traveling, and most of the time when I see a lot of Sagittarius in the chart, they have moved to another country. They like to spend time in other places and other cultures. They are very philosophical. They are big picture thinkers.
That's me. Definitely love to move, love to travel.
Can't sit still.
Big picture. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing better now, but before I was like couldn't stay, you know, in the same country for more than 2-3 years. So did you? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say. So Sylvia, you've gotten an astrology reading before, you said, or a report.
Yeah. Yes, I did. Yeah.
And Veronique, you've never gotten one before.
No, that was the first time I did it. Yeah, I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
I never heard of that before.
Yeah, well, the way that I do the report, the free report, is quite different. Most of the time when you kind of Google, you're like, oh, like I want to know my birth chart. It's like got a lot of information. It's got the wheel. It's kind of confusing. It's a lot of jargon
Mhm.
and kind of like mysterious. Sometimes information is like negative. I never believe that one placement is better than the other. It's really just how the story unfolds. And you really always have free will. It's up to you to
No,
activate different parts of your chart.
no, no.
Oh,
Thank
I
God.
see. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Oh, how about just one more
Mhm.
question about the yachts? What do you work?
Yeah.
What, do you include them in your readings, in your reports?
Oh,
Is it?
no, I don't I haven't really looked into that too much. I do know that is a very unusual thing that happens in people's charts, and people are usually like there's like it's like a very unique. I can't say like it's special, but it's a very different way of kind of like being in the world. You know, it's like this person attracts a lot of attention, faded in terms of they could have like a extreme like fame. They could have a lot of attention placed onto them. There could be a lot of tragedy surrounding. There could be a lot of like fame and success. It's basically like 3 points that become like I believe it's an equilateral triangle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's three different points, and not a lot. It's not very present in charts because most of us just are living kind of like ordinary normal lives.
Yeah, because I have one in my chart, so
You do have one
I
in your chart.
I
I'm
do.
so
That's
interesting.
why.
Well, you didn't do your free chart, so how would I know?
I know, right? Yeah, because like I have to do it with you as well. Because my
Wait,
this
so what?
astrologer told me that.
Oh, okay. So then
Yeah,
what is it? What are the three aspects of your yod?
I don't remember. That's the thing. She just told me like I had
Oh,
one, and that was it, and that I had a lot of
it's
like guru
rare.
energy,
So,
Mhm.
which
well,
was weird.
what type of like extremes have you experienced like in your life so far? You
Extremes.
seem still quite young, so there's a lot that can
Yeah,
happen.
I mean like extremes. I mean there were some bad things. Like I lost my brother when he was younger. So like things
Mm,
like things
yeah,
like that is not common. But living in
yeah.
Brazil, it was quite common because car crashes is very common there. So
Mm.
Mhm.
but like things like that. And then actually after that accident, it just opened up my like getting into the psychic world of things. That's when I kind of
Mm.
like started
Mhm.
really leaning into that direction. So she did say that there was a lot of this guru energy in my chart,
Oh,
like throughout
huh.
what she was reading. And that's why she was
Oh.
talking about like me talking in public and doing all this. But I'm like, I don't know. It's just,
Oh, I think it's like I don't really feel like it's because when I read astrology and people have mentioned this to me before who are in the healing space and the wellness space, they're like, you don't just read your report, like someone's report. There's a lot of
hmm
energy reading that comes through. And I think that this is like
yeah.
this next chapter that is unfolding for you because it's like kind of because you said you have one, and so I'm like, oh, okay, like I don't have your information, but I can still read into the energy of like who you are. And yeah, I would say that the story has yet to really be unfolded. There's a lot more inner work, like identity work, to be done. And there's probably a reluctance around really connecting like with your psychic abilities and really opening them up to the fullest capacity, because when it does actually open, your life will be very different.
Well,
Oh,
it
okay.
does
So
make
remember
sense
that, Sylvia.
because she was just
Remember
asking.
that.
Yeah, Veronique was just asking me like, when are you gonna start? Because I am a psychic and I've been doing readings for a long time, but just very low key. And
Yeah,
Veronique
I
was
knew
like, when
it.
are you? You see, and Veronique was like, why don't you create a website? Why don't you? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, exactly what you're talking about. It's just being reluctant.
I would
Yeah.
say
Oh.
that you probably have what is very commonly known as a witch wound. I mean, you must know this like for yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you go into your past lives, looking at your south node, looking at like Saturn, just to kind of understand like yeah, like most people, a lot of my clients who will come to me, they are like there's a big part of them, big percentage of them that are very intuitive, very psychic, but that type of ability hasn't been fostered as a child. And so they kind of like close it down. They think it's like weird. They don't know how to harness it. As well as in past lives, they could have gotten like killed for it. So there's a lot of like deep wounding that is still quite present that needs to be like released so that they can feel more safe and confident to really show themselves. And also there's a component of like energy. So the more people that know about you, the more you will need to fend off psychic attacks too.
Yeah. Yeah, so there
And you
is
have to
that
be
too. Yeah.
energetically prepared to hold that space for others and for yourself, and to be able to dispel that type of energy.
Yeah, to protect myself for sure.
Well, isn't the free reading, live?
Just because of one question of what is a yacht. So yeah, thank you.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, because it's it's a thing that I don't hear many astrologers talking about that. And then I did follow one on a podcast that he was explaining a lot, like he was telling what it is, and like some people have two,
Yeah.
3, and some famous people who have that.
Yes.
But I don't really find a lot of information about it. So that's why I was kind of curious. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
you're
for
so
the
welcome.
explanation.
Well, thank you for for your time. I think we're out of time. So that was a lot of information. So I hope our listeners are really going to appreciate, and you can re-listen to it if you didn't get everything, because there was a lot of information. We're going to put Alice's information in the podcast description, and also you have a little gift for our listener, you said.
Yeah, so I will give everyone a discount on the expanded career astrology report. And 2024 is going to be a very interesting year. 2023 is a liminal one, kind of endings and beginnings, like kind of like very much so frenetic energy. And in 2024, the energy feels like it's going to be moving very quickly. You can create your own momentum. The word that I have chosen for this upcoming year is empowerment.
Ooh, yeah, we know about that.
I'm going to do the report with you, by the way. I am totally doing it because I just love those things.
There you go.
I will look into your Yod or Yod, whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, like some people say that. Yeah, the yacht. Yeah, I don't know, but it's whatever that is called. I would love to hear from you about that.
Yeah, but thank you for having me. For those who are curious about connecting with me, they can find me on Instagram at WOOWOOCO, and they can get their free career astrology report at yoursaturn.com. And I'm sure all the info will be in the show notes as well.
Yes. Thank you, Alice.
Same to you.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening today. May your journey towards spiritual fulfillment never end. Until next time, keep learning, growing, and exploring. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest.